you should be.
Alright,
You should be.
so I've got two things I want to cover with you guys today, quick. So for my Hack Day project, which we talked about how we had done Hack Day here at Knewton, I had done a question and answering service using something called data sufficiency, which, have any of you guys taken the GMAT or heard of data sufficiency questions? You don't count. Test teaches. So what I'm going to do instead to start out is just show a quick, simple Q&A app in SMS using Cherry Pie. Is anybody familiar with Cherry Pie or have used Cherry Pie before? Okay. It's pretty awesome and a lot of fun. So like, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago, this was kind of the first program that I learned, right? Just very simple, basic, literally basic program. So to sort of replicate that and then show you how to do it inside of using Twilio and Cherry Pie, I've got this number set up. You just text it a question mark, and once you text it that question mark, if anybody wants to try, feel free. It'll be a little slow networking here, but you get asked, what is your name? Right, so just that same very simple question. You'll get a reply based on the name that you entered, and you'll get asked if we should play a game. So hopefully some of you recognize. Yes. I don't have that bit in yet. Still working on the sessions, but thank God. I wasn't sure if anybody got the war games. Thank you. So this is it though. This is all the code that it took to be able to do that. They're really, and I'll blow these up a little bit, they're really just two important methods. So if you haven't used Cherry Pie before, it's a really simple web server written in Python. So there's no configuration. You quickly get an app up and running in minutes. So the two functions that really matter are the index function, which is what happens when somebody hits the running server. And that's doing the simple evaluation. You can actually define each of the parameters that get passed through the query string in your method as it comes to Cherry Pie. So the method that matters for reviewing these SMSs is the body method. There are also several others. You can get the number that was called from, the number that was called to, as well as some additional location data. Responding to that is very simply just wrapping an XML message and then the one simple token of SMS, and then you put your string inside. There are a few other little methods that I wrote, like this trim method that ensures that it's shorter than 160 characters. That's what I have it set to, and I think that's about right, depending on who you're working with. So it's 33 lines, a little bit longer than the two simple ones for basic, but still pretty short, and certainly much easier to get set up than your typical Apache web server PHP config. Very little to deal with. And then all you have to do in Twilio is point it to your server. Some of the Cherry Pie benefits: it's Python for those who care. Also, after looking around a little bit, I found that you could run Cherry Pie inside of Google's App Engine. It took me about 30 minutes to get it from just a Cherry Pie server that I was running on an Amazon micro instance into Google's App Engine. So really, really simple and easy to run. If you've got some simple apps that you want to play around with, free, unless you're getting hit heavily. And then you can get more info at cherrypie.org. All right. And then just to talk a little bit about the actual product that I had worked on. So data sufficiency quiz, you get asked a question. That question has 5 answers that are the same 5 all the time. They're really confusing question type. You get asked questions like, if a plus b doesn't equal 0, is 2a minus b over 2a plus b greater than 1? And then you need to determine based on these other 2 fields whether or not those statements are sufficient. Maybe you want to do a better explanation? Is that?
That's close enough.
All right. Basically, these are really hard questions. I don't understand them, and I did this as essentially a flashcard system for myself. You get the question right, you get a virtual high five, booyah, notifying that you got it right. The reason I don't have that to demo is because one of the things that I tell every other manager of technology to do, which is saving all of your configurations, especially for instances in the cloud that are prone to disappearing at times. I no longer have the configs and didn't have the time to get it set up again. Also, one other complication, which is probably a little bit harder to read from back here, but SMS texts aren't fixed with fonts. So if you're trying to do anything math-based, like the LaTeX that I had here, things start to look pretty wonky, which gets really difficult when you're using complex fractions. So that's all I had.
Question for John. Does Twilio plan on supporting MMS?
That's a really good question.
Because
We get that request a lot.
Help.
Yeah.
That would be very helpful. We get that
Well-
request a lot. It's something that we're like considering.
But MMS still want to do it in line necessarily, right? Like I could do the assets plus a text, but I couldn't necessarily arrange.
Yeah, you would be able to do like a text followed by an MMS.
Got it.
Like that's how MMS works, I
Got
think.
it. Yeah, yeah. So even that wouldn't necessarily help. I think what I had actually looked at
the whole question.
You need LaTeX.
Yeah, you either have to do the whole question. Well, this is actually doing LaTeX parsing that's turning it into the plain text font, which I spent embarrassingly way too much time trying to find something that did. And I was really excited and got it working awesome in my terminal, and it looked great all the time. And then I started texting them to myself and realized that they looked like crap probably 50% of the time.
Was it not an abomination that he was actually considering embedding Perl in Python for a short period?
The solution to generate the plain text is actually a Perl script called from Python. But the Perl script was a little too gross for me to try to dig in and figure out what the hell was going on with it, except for a couple minor changes. So that's it. So just basically really simple, easy to use. Have any of you guys tried doing a Twilio SMS question answer thing? Do you have? Nobody else? It's really, really simple. I really can't say that enough. Any other questions? Aside from MMS? No, we're good.